What up, y'all? It's your boy R to the A to the S. Yes, Raj here with See What Costs a Blog. Today, here to give you a little lesson, some thoughts on Captain America Civil War. We're going to talk about some of the spiritual aspects, biblical principles from this movie. Now, obviously, let me make it clear, I'm not saying this movie was a Christian movie. Alright? When you got one of your characters named Scarlet Witch, you can't quite call this a Christian movie. You know what I'm saying? They dropped a lot of D words and stuff like that. So I'm not saying this is a Christian movie. But there are things that you can pull out of this movie that can be applied to life. First thing, obviously, you can look at, Marvel characters as a representation of good, a kingdom of light, and you can look at those who oppose them as sort of like this kingdom of darkness. Definitely Hydra will be sort of like, a demonic force entity in the world. And Avengers are sort of like this kingdom of light. Again, I'm not saying it's a perfect parallel, but they look at their job as a responsibility to stop evil, hold up justice. Very similar principles that you see with Christianity in the Bible and what we're charged to do. Another thing, big theme of this movie is in a lot of comic book movies is this theme of vengeance. You see what happens in this movie when you're consumed by getting revenge, repaying evil with evil. And you saw that with the character Zemo. His parents were killed, of course, accidentally, a casualty of war. But this created in him this master plan to find some type of way to get revenge on the Avengers. Okay? So you see revenge in him. You see it definitely with Iron Man. He didn't want to hear anything once he found out that Bucky had, killed his mama. Alright? He was consumed with killing, Bucky. So that's another thing of revenge. You got Black Panther. Once his father was killed by Bucky, allegedly, he wanted revenge. And so all of these characters are consumed with getting revenge. All of these characters are consumed with repaying evil for evil. And you see it how it destroys these people's lives. Brings selfishness. It brings, destroys relationships, things of this sort. And of course, Zemo was crafty enough, sort of like Satan, to find out their weaknesses and bring about this revenge. But we saw with Black Panther, though, through all of these experiences, he realized that this was pretty much meaningless. It didn't bring him any satisfaction to get revenge, right? Even with the character of Zemo. He got his revenge. He got Cap and Iron Man fighting. Guess what? Did it give him happiness? No. He wanted to kill himself. Right? He wanted to kill himself. Vengeance does nothing. Even though I'm sure it felt good to see them fight and stuff like that. At the end, he still was in pain. He still felt hopeless, and wanted to kill himself. Vengeance does nothing. And Black Panther was really, one of the few characters that got it. They got what the Bible says. Don't repay evil with evil, but repay evil with good. You can see another principle in here, and I'm not saying it's a perfect parallel, but you look at somebody like Bucky. He was brainwashed, all right? And that's what Satan does. He brainwashes folks, right? Get them to thinking in a certain way. But the job of the church, of course, is to rescue folks. And we saw how Cap, and though I did not agree with everything he did, but he was consumed with rescuing his friend, getting his friend out of that situation, getting him out of that brainwashed situation. And he would do whatever it took to rescue his friend. And that's love. That's true love for somebody. To do whatever it takes to still believe in that person despite all the things that they did. He knew that the true person was still inside of there. And that should be our attitude when, towards people who are lost. People who are, controlled by the evil one. We got to do what we have to do to get them out of that situation. And not look at the circumstances. But to go after them because you're driven by love. Cat was driven by love. Now again, I'm not saying it's perfect because he did some wrong things. But I'm just saying overall, he had a love for Bucky. And that's what drove him. And we got to have that same love for those who are lost, those who are blind, those who are brainwashed by the evil one. Be consumed to save these folks, to get them out of this mess. Okay? So that's my thoughts. Looking at spiritual aspects that we can pull out of Captain America Civil War. Love to hear your thoughts. Maybe you got some spiritual aspects that I didn't touch upon. I'm sure you do. So write them down below. This is Proceed with Caution Ball and Skip Bayless Suts. And I'm out.